Hey, this is Bill Raymond, and in this video I'm going to show you how to brand your GitHub Pages Jekyll site. Let's get started. Hi, I've been creating this video for the last few days and just lost my voice, so my voice is probably going to change throughout the video. On the left-hand side here, we have the Jekyll site that we created in previous videos. If you want to catch up, please do watch those videos first. Now, I basically created a Jekyll site and modified the config.yaml file just a little bit with some of the defaults that are provided here. And we also set it up so that it will work with GitHub and made a few other minor changes. On the right-hand side, we have the website. At the top left of the page, you can see my company name. I want to put a logo there, but by default, the Minima theme does not come with that capability. So I'm going to show you how to tailor the theme to support that. Down at the bottom left corner of the screen, you can see CamberMast is listed twice. The first one is the title of the site, so that's fine. The second one is really the title, but it should be displaying the author. Because I'm the only author of this site, I want my name to be listed everywhere. I want it to be listed as the contact information for my site. I also want it to show up for my RSS feeds, and I also want my name to show up as the default author for posts. Since I'm the only one creating posts on the site, that is what I want to do, is just have every new post show up as the author as Bill Raymond. Also missing from the page is a copyright. So I'm going to show you how to add the copyright symbol with your copyright information, and it will automatically change every time the year changes over. In the bottom middle portion of the page, you can see my two social handles. Right now I have Twitter and GitHub. However, I want to add LinkedIn and YouTube, and I also want to reorder them. So I'll show you how to do that. Before you get started, close down any files you might have open and save your work, because the next thing we're going to do is create a new branch. I'm in Visual Studio Code, so I'm going to type Command-Shift-P and create a new branch. And I'm going to call this add-branding and press enter. You can see down here at the bottom portion of the screen in Visual Studio Code, it says you're in the add branding branch. So any changes we make here won't affect the master until we're ready to commit all of this and then merge the branches. So what I could do is create a branch for adding the logo, adding the copyright, adding the social media links. But because all these changes are pretty minimal, I'm going to do it all in this one branch. Let's start by modifying the author name. So I want this CamberMast to change, and I want my RSS feed to change. So I'll go into the config.yml file. And as you'll recall, we did a few modifications to the site settings that come with the Minima theme. I could just add the author right down here at the bottom, but instead, just to kind of separate the changes that I'm making versus what came out of the box, I'm going to paste this text in. Anytime you put a hashtag in front of something, you're just adding a comment, so you can type anything that you want. And my comment that I added is fields that Minima uses but are not defaulted. So I know the author field is used in Minima, but it's not defaulted here when I created the site originally. So I'm just going to add author : Bill Raymond. Now I do want to just point out how I know that author is used. So if I come up here into the includes, there's a footer.html file. And you can see here the footer is building what's down here. And in one area it's saying the contact list, and it says if the site author is filled in, then put that there. Else put site.title. So right now it's putting site.title. So now that we have a site author in here, I expect this gray text that says CamberMast to say Bill Raymond. So I'm going to save my config.yaml file. I'll go to a terminal window, and then I'm going to run bundle exec Jekyll serve. I have --live reload in here just because I pasted it in, but do keep in mind, anytime we modify the config.yaml file, we're going to have to stop and start again. This is one of the few things that you cannot just automatically reload. Okay, so I'll press enter to run the site. And I have to open the new page using this link. I'll close the other one. And you can see there's that Bill Raymond text down there. That's the author text. And also all my posts, well, I only have one right now, but if I click onto View RSS and I search for Bill Raymond, you can see here's that author for any of the pages that got created, the pages and the posts. So that's cool. I've taken care of the author piece of this. I'll just head back over here, and then I'm going to do a Control-C to stop the server, clear that, and I'll also just close down the terminal area so we have some more window space. Next, we're going to add a copyright. I want that to appear right underneath my name and my email address. So I'm going to go ahead back into here to the config.yml file. Now, this is not something that Jekyll ships with or Minima ships with. So I'm going to create some more space in the config.yaml file, and I'm going to paste this text in. Oops. There we go. And you can see I have first a title that says, here are new fields not defaulted by Jekyll new with the Minima theme. So that's basically me reminding myself that if I create any custom fields, put them here. And then it says add a copyright symbol and year will be added automatically. And so now that we have this, now that we know how to do that, and I put myself a little description here, I can see if I just type copyright : and I just put my company name in here, that's what's going to show up at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. For the copyright to display, I need to go in here to the footer.html file. And you can see I want to add this here, and this is where that's happening. So it's actually column 1, and there's 3 columns, 1, 2, and the third one is wrapping. So if I were just kind of re-stretch the screen, you can see there's column 3 with my business description. So let's go and put this back here again. And in column 1, you can see there's a whole bunch of these if and if statements. These are all just checking. If there's no site author, then put the site title. If there's a site email, then display that. All of these if statements are using what's called, and these little brackets that display the information, are using what's called Liquid. So you'll want to get familiar with the Liquid programming language. That's what this uses. So I'm going to go ahead and paste some text here, and I'll walk you through it. This is saying if site.copyright, it's basically saying if a copyright exists, then put the copyright symbol, and this is the HTML code for copyright symbol. It's ampersand copy semicolon, and then do a space, and put the text for site.copyright that's in the config.yaml, and then put the date with only the year displaying. So I'll go ahead and save the footer file, close that, and I'll save my config.yaml file. Next, I'll run the terminal window again, and I'll do a bundle exec Jekyll serve. Next, I'll just open this up again, close the other one, and you can see there's that copyright symbol, Cambermast LLC, and the year. So when it's 2021, this will just automatically switch over for me. I don't need to think about it. Of course, I could get fancy and make this text smaller or in italics or something like that, and I might do that at some point, but at this point, I have what I need for the basics. Again, I'm going to stop the server and close the terminal window so we can go on to the next thing. Next, let's focus on these social media icons. So I am going to add those to the fields Minima uses, but how do I know that? Well, if I come over here to the social, if I go to the includes folder and go to the social.html file, you can see this is what gets included when it builds the footer. And here's all the different default out-of-the-box accounts that it supports. So Dribbble, Facebook, Flickr, and so on. And LinkedIn and YouTube are in here. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab these variables, and you can see it's only going to display these if there's something filled out inside the config.yaml file. So here's LinkedIn _username, and I'm going to go to config.yaml, and I'm going to use this fields Minima users but are not defaulted. I'm going to put that down here. So I'll do LinkedIn username : space, and then I'll come back here to social media, and I'll find YouTube. I'll copy that and paste YouTube in : space. So first, let's get my LinkedIn username. I'm going to create a new tab over here and go to LinkedIn. And then click on my name, or my face, my avatar. You can see up here, this is the URL for your profile, and right there is William Raymond. So I'll copy that, close this down, and I'll paste that into LinkedIn. Next, I need the YouTube username. Now, if you're logged into YouTube and you go to your channel, you'll get this big long list of numbers and letters. So instead, what we're going to do is open up an incognito window, and I'm going to go to YouTube, and then I'm going to go ahead and search for my name so I can get the name that the Minima theme's looking for. Now, at some point, hopefully I've made it when this cat stops showing up before my name and some ham radio thing. But anyway, so I'll click on my name here. Here are all my videos that I created. And you can see, here's that username, Project Nation Bill. It's something I created a long time ago. I wish I didn't use it, but anyway, that's what it is. And so I'll close this down, and I'll paste that into the config.yaml file. And I'll save the config.yaml file. Now, I'm not going to change the social.html file yet, because it should automatically display that information. So I'll go to the terminal window, and this time I am going to make sure I use -- live reload. So if you haven't been doing that, use it now. Bundle execs Jekyll serve -- live reload. Press enter and go ahead and open the site. Close the other one. And there we go. There's my GitHub, LinkedIn, Twitter, and my YouTube. Now here's a problem with all of this, is that LinkedIn is kind of how I communicate with my customers. This is my primary vehicle for connecting with people. So I want that at the top. Twitter's my second, YouTube is my third, and then finally my GitHub. So I'm going to go ahead and modify the social.html file. And all I need to do is move things around. So first I want to get the LinkedIn to the top. So I'll just come over here to LinkedIn, and I'll just cut this line and paste it up here at the top. And once I save that, watch what happens down here on the middle part of the screen. There, now LinkedIn is at the top. Next, I want to have Twitter show up underneath LinkedIn. So it's the same thing. Just grab Twitter and paste that underneath LinkedIn and save just to make sure that it's working. There we go. Twitter's underneath. And then finally, I want YouTube underneath that. So I'll just go ahead and take YouTube. There we go. And paste that and save. There we go. Now these are laid out exactly the way I want them. And I will do a control break and close down the terminal window and close down the social.html file. Something I forgot to do before shutting everything down is verify the links, but I can still do that. So let's just right click on William Raymond and open that in a new tab. That should open my account. There we go. And if I go to the YouTube channel, that's the other one that I just added, I'll open that in a new tab and make sure that that works. Yeah, it does. Great. Perfect. So now we can move on. Now it's time to work on the logo at the top left. And actually, this ended up being one of the more difficult things to do because by default, a logo is not supported. And there's a lot of CSS that's used here. And if you don't know how to use SCSS, SAS, then it's a little bit of a difficult thing to manage. But I've figured out an easy way to do it. So hopefully this works for you too. So the first thing I'm going to do is come up here and create a brand new folder in the root area. And I'll just say new folder, and I'm going to call this images. Now, could I put this in one of the other folders that Minima provides? I could, but again, I'm trying my best to kind of keep my work separate from what comes with the built-in product. Next, what I'm going to do is take a file that I have with my logo and put it into that folder. There we go. And it has a blank background, so it's hard to see. I'm probably going to have to update my logo because at some point I'd like this site to have a dark theme and a light theme, but that's a topic for another day. So with the images folder and the logo in, I'm calling this title-logo, and I'm calling it that because this camera mask text here, this is what Minima calls the title. So I figure, well, I'll call mine title-logo. The next thing I'm going to do is come over here to config.yaml. And then what I'm going to do is come over here to the new fields, because again, Jekyll and the Minima theme do not support this by default. So what I'm going to do is grab some text here and copy and paste it, and then I'll walk you through it. And right here it says title logo. Again, this is just comment text that I put in for my own purposes. It's just saying title logo is a new field that when used displays a logo. I also know that because of the way the site is set up, that a 50 pixel height is the best option. So that's what I added here for my title logo.png. It's actually a 50 pixel high logo. And for the title logo, I just did /images/title-logo.png. Make sure you save your config.yml file and then go to the includes folder, and we'll go to header.html. Now you can see here, this is where the title gets displayed. And I know that because there you can see it saying site title. So this is what the Minima theme gave us. So what I'm going to do here is just kind of comment this and say original title display code from the Minima theme. And I'm just being extra cautious with how I do things, so it's easy for me to come back if I have to make updates at some future date. So I'll just go ahead and paste this in and then do my comments correctly. There we go. So that's the original code that was used by Minima. As a matter of fact, I'm going to use this code still, but I'm going to add some new code. So I'm going to go ahead and paste in my new code, and I'll walk you through it. So let's just bring this over here. Okay. So this is the start of my custom code where we add the title or the title logo. And it's just creating this link first. You can see this is the A link, and there's the /A there. So whatever gets displayed is going to be in a link. Next, what you can see is we have if the site title logo exists. In other words, I have something filled in this config.yaml setting right here. If something exists, then go ahead and display the logo. And you can see here it's in an image tag, so img source, and it's getting that. Else just display the site title. All right, so it's pretty straightforward. I'm going to save the header.html file, and I'll go back to config.yaml, and I'll open a new terminal window, and I'll do a bundle exec Jekyll serve, and then I'll open the site, close the old one, and there we go. There's the logo. And I'll just click on About here. The logo displays there. That's good. If I click on the logo, it brings me back to the home page. Check this out in a post. Yeah, all right, so cool. So the logo is working, that's good. But let's also just make sure that this works if a logo isn't added to the settings. So I do have to stop the server, control break, and I have to come back here, and I'll just remove this text. I could also remove title logo, but I won't do that. Save it. And now let's run this again. There, the camera mask text is displaying. And again, I'll just click around to make sure that's displaying properly everywhere. It is. That's cool. So I'm going to go ahead and put that text back. save my YAML file, and just to be sure everything's good, I will reload one more time. There, I've got the logo back. So we're all good. We've got the logo added. Just one little note here. I did find a little bug in my code. So if you happen to have been writing this having watched the video, this /a isn't needed because we've got a /a here. And that brings up a really good point about some best practices that I did not follow when we were doing this video. I should have, every time I made a major change, like added the copyright, added the logo, added these social media links and sorted them, I should have just been doing a Control-Shift-P and committed those changes. That way, if I make some big breaking change, I can always go back to another point in time rather than having to revert an entire file back or something like that. So at this point, we have finished our work. I like to close down all the open files just to make sure that everything's saved. And you can see that Visual Studio Code is showing us all the things that were edited, and that's thanks to Git. And I want to commit all of this stuff. So I'm just going to do a Control-Shift-P and commit this. And I'm going to say completed all branding activities. And I could have been more descriptive and said did logo, did social media icons or whatever, but that's what I did. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the master branch and I'll type Control-Shift-P and merge branch, and I'll merge the add branding branch. So now our add branding branch is formally part of the master branch. Let's just make sure that that is the case. I'll open up a terminal window and once again do bundle exec Jekyll serve. Open up the site, close down the old one, and just make sure. Okay, so I see the logo here. If I click around, I can see that the logo is bringing me back. I see the RSS feed. I'm going to search for Bill Raymond. There we go. I can see that here. That's good. That's the author. I can see the author is down here. I can see my copyright notice, and I can see that all of my social links are set up properly and in the order I want. But we aren't quite done yet. Right now, our site is just local. We've been testing everything here on our computer. So if I were to go to GitHub and take a look at the repo, none of the changes are up here. And remember, I created this link to my site right here. And you can see none of the changes are here. Original text, no author, the links aren't here. So we still have some work to do. Now what we want to do is go ahead and come over here to our local computer on Visual Studio Code. And we're going to sync these files up to GitHub. And in just a moment, it looks like it's done. We can come over here. Oops. I'll close this window down. And we can take a look at our config.yaml file, for example. And we can see here's all those new changes that we made. There's like the author, the YouTube username, things like that. So that's cool. The next thing we need to do is check out our website and make sure that it works. Now remember that when you upload your site to GitHub, it's essentially doing that equivalent of the bundle exec Jekyll serve. And so even though the files are up there, the files need to be processed through Jekyll. So that means that the site might just take a few minutes to update. So let me just refresh. There we go. So now the new site's working. Let's just make sure the links work. Go to the About page, click Camera Mask, that works. Check out the RSS feed, search for my name. Yep, I see that. And I'll also look down here. There's a copyright with my name as the author. And there are all my links. So cool, it looks like we now have a site that we've built and tested on our local computer, and it works just great in GitHub. Thank you for watching this video. If you want more like this, please like, comment, and click the bell to support my channel.